Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back on my continuation on my last video, which was on vastu. And exactly what I explained there in that video was what exactly is vastu, how was vastu purusha or the vastu man was created, what are the 45 gods which actually are involved in the entire vastu architecture of a plot of land or the constructed land or the construction on that plot of land rather, and what are the directions. We didn't discuss about the directions of those different energies which constitute of those 45 gods, but we did kind of understood as to how important is to have a plot of land which is based on the vastu principles, and how important is to create a construction or to build a house based on vastu principles, just because each and every deity which is associated with the vastu piece, which is there actually in all pieces of land in this world based on the story which we discussed, they carry with them certain energies, and so people living in them have to be in harmony with those energies so that they can get maximum benefit out of where they're living in terms of getting the right positive energy in their lives. So that was the basics of vastu which we discussed in our last video, and today we are going to be discussing about vastu and directions. And vastu and directions means that as to what deity is ruling a particular direction per se. So I will request you do not confuse it with the directions ruled by planets. In my last video on Jyotish and astrology, I had discussed about what planets rule certain directions, and I also made a clarification as to do not confuse the direction of the planets along with when a planet becomes strong in a particular direction. Like for example, I discussed that Mars rules over the northern direction. It's the ruler of the northern direction. However, it becomes digbali or gets digbal or directional strength in the eastern direction. So there's a slight contradiction there. So please do not confuse those principles which are digbal or directional strength or the rulership of the directions ruled by planets. So today we are going to be very specifically talking about the deities which are associated with the vastu piece of land or the vastu purusha or the vastu person or the vastu man rather, and we are going to be discussing what deities in that vastu land rule over what directions, and that will give us an idea as to how the construction needs to be started and what things we have to keep in mind while constructing, or rather even what things do we have to keep in mind before acquiring a plot of land, because every plot of land is actually having a vastu purusha. So we have to be very careful as to what piece of land we acquire and how we build on it. And then we have to understand as to what deities out of the 45 deities which we discussed in our last video, including Lord Brahma, have rulership over what directions and what energies. We'll not be discussing about energies, but we'll just briefly talk about the rulership of directions related to deities which are associated with the vastu piece of land. So I hope I made myself clear. People who do not, or people who have questions, feel free to send me an email. So the eastern direction is the direction of the sunrise. It is ruled by the planet Sun. Now, Sun is also a vastu energy. So Sun is a planet, and Sun, there is a commonality here, meaning which that as a planet, it rules over the eastern direction, and even as a vastu deity. Today we are talking about Sun as a vastu deity, not as a planet. The direction of sunrise, which is east, is also ruled by Sun, again as a vastu deity. So we are not talking about planets, we're talking about vastu deities. So in a vastu piece of land, Sun is considered a vastu deity as well, and it rules over the eastern direction. The northern direction is ruled by the deity Kuber, and people who are not aware or familiar with what Kuber is, and I'll spell it for you so you can pronounce it right. It is Kuber. Kuber. Kuber is an ancient Hindu deity which rules money. So he is kind of a deity who is in charge of keeping the money for the gods, meaning is the entire universe, wealth and money is ruled by Kuber. So the northern direction is ruled by the deity Kuber, and we are talking about a plot of land. And try to imagine what I had explained to you about the Vastu Purusha, whose head is in the northeast direction and the legs are towards the southwest direction. Of course, the legs are not straight, they are bent. So try to imagine that through the eyes of Vastu. So east, we discussed, it's ruled by the planet Sun, or not the planet Sun, or the deity Sun. The northern direction in a Vastu piece of land is ruled by the deity Kuber, who is the ruler of wealth, who is in charge of wealth. Please remember that. The western direction is ruled by the deity Varun, or some people can call it Varuna. I'll spell it for you. It's Varuna, and it's a ancient god who is the ruler of oceans. The southern direction is ruled by the deity Yama, and Yama is the god of death as per Hindu scriptures. The northeastern direction is ruled by the deity Shiva. Now northeast direction, or actually rather the northeast corner per se in a Vastu piece of land, is also called the Ishan Kon. Kon means corner, and Ishan, I'll spell it for you, that's how it is said in Sanskrit, Ishan, Ishan. So the northeast corner is ruled by the deity Shiva. The southeast corner, also called in Sanskrit as Agni Kon, Agni means fire, Kon means corner. So the southeast corner is ruled by the deity Agni, and Agni is another name for fire, whom the Hindus consider as a deity or a god. That is what is ruled by the southeast corner. The northwest corner is ruled by the deity Vayu, which can be called wind, the lord of the winds. Vayu, Vaayu, that's the northwest corner. So that's the kind of a Vayu Kon, you can say it, or a Vayu corner. The southwest corner is ruled by the deity Pitra, Pitras are our ancestors. So the southwest corner, please remember, is ruled by the Pitras. And once again, please don't confuse it with the directions of the planets, because southwest corner as a planet is ruled by Rahu. Here, as a vastu deity, the southwest corner is ruled by the deity Pitra. Again, Pitras are our ancestors as per Hindu philosophy. And the center part of that plot of land is ruled by the deity Brahma. And as we remember, you remember in our last video we discussed how the 45 deities, including Lord Brahma, pinned the Vastu Purusha or the Vastu man down, and Brahma jumped to his back, and that's the place where there is a rulership of Brahma in a plot of land based on Vastu principles. Just the center of all the directions, basically. So we'll go along and discuss as to what would be the appropriate places of construction, what would be the appropriate things to keep in mind before acquiring a piece of land. But in the meanwhile, I just wanted to give you a basic idea as to what is the rulership in terms of the deities, in terms of their directions as far as Vastu principles are concerned. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below. And I will see you with an interesting topic very soon. Goodbye.